Hey everybody, it's KennedyHawk from the Marvel Champions Monthly Fan Podcast team. Back again with another deck of the week. I know last week I mentioned that I would be doing Black Widow Protection soon, and it is coming up. I thought I was going to do it this week, but I had to put it off one more week for an amazing aggression deck that I've been running that has been hilariously fun. The deck is Wasp Aggression, and it is all about oversized overkill. Let's get into the combo, and then we'll walk through the deck and talk about some of the pieces and some of the ways that you can set up this combo in a multiplayer or solo game. So the goal here is to get Wasp's base attack as high as you possibly can. Just like that Hawkeye, I always have an arrow for that deck. We're going to be pumping Wasp into the double digits for her attack. So how are we going to do that? Wasp's giant form has a base 2 attack, and it allows her to spread damage over multiple enemies if we want. We're going to be taking advantage of a lot of new cards from the Guardian cycle. So I'm looking at cards like Hand Cannon, which is a 2-cost upgrade that has 3 charge counters, lets you add +2 attack, and Overkill to one of your basic attacks. So having 2 hand cannons out would let her get to 6 with Overkill. With Side Holster, we could even get to 3 hand cannons and get to 8, which is kind of crazy. We're going to use Combat Training to get ourselves to 9 damage. And then we've got 3 copies of Skilled Strike. So if you had all 3 in hand, you could get up to 15 damage. And if we used a Rapid Growth from Wasp's kit on top of that, we could get up to 17 damage in the perfect situation. So this is like perfect magical fairy tale land. 17 damage, but it only costs 5 cards from your hand to get there because everything else is played ahead of time. So that's pretty cool and pretty crazy. Now, the reason that this is so important for Wasp, being able to spread 17 damage around sounds really cool. You can kill lots of minions, but there's another new card from Galaxy's Most Wanted called Follow Through that makes this even more hilarious. And I'm assuming this is the way it works. It might not be, but it's the way I play it because I think it's fun. When I assign damage, I can assign any amount of damage to each character I want to. There's nothing in Wasp's kit telling me that I can't. So what we're going to do is assign excess damage to many minions and use 3 copies of Follow Through. So Follow Through says Hero Interrupt. When your hero's attack deals any amount of excess damage, increase that amount by 1. So if we overkill 3 minions by 1 using Hand Cannon, that 3 points of overkill damage, each of those is going to be increased by 3, and those 3 points of damage are going to become 12 points of damage to the villain's face. That's hysterical. It gets better the more minions you have. Even if you're doing it with 1 minion and getting that 1 turning into 4 is really good. But if you're doing it with 3, 4, or 5 minions, it's even crazier. So let's leave, Fairy Tale Land and go back to something more reasonable. So let's say we have a base attack of 6. We're getting that from our base attack, 1 Hand Cannon, and a Skilled Strike in hand. So Hand Cannon played ahead of time. We're also going to have our 3 copies of Follow Through played ahead of time, and we're going to kill 3 Ultron drones with that base 6, dealing 2 to each drone. I have Overkill, so that's going to hit Ultron for 3. But wait, because of Follow Through, like I just said, that's going to hit Ultron for 12 instead. That's insane-o. It is hilarious. But it is going to require a lot of setup, so we're talking about, to get the ultimate dream, 3 hand cannons, 3 follow-throughs, a combat training. That's 7 aggression upgrades that cost 2. So we're definitely including power of aggressions in our deck. It's also going to require you to get all the right cards in hand at the same time, and it's going to require you to have lots of minions out there that are low in health so that you can just push them to that 1 point of excess damage. So we're going to be using allies like Angela to pull out extra minions, and allies like Spider-Girl to confuse and stun those minions so that you can maintain them while you're waiting to get multiples out there so you can have your big blasty turn. So let's go through the deck, and we can talk about a couple more combos like those ones I just mentioned. So for our allies, we've got 5 allies: Angela, Ant-Man, Hulk, Nick Fury, and Spider-Girl. You could swap in Valkyrie if you wanted in this somewhere, so she can, if you get a big chunky ally, you can, loosen it up a little bit and get it to lowered HP so that you can get that excess damage guaranteed. But I like the way it's set up right now. Hulk can do that too. Angela is key, because she's a 0-cost card that can go find a minion for you, so you can guarantee that you're going to get your excess damage. Really, really key. For events, we've got Giant Help, Pinpoint Strike, Rapid Growth, and Wasp Sting, but we've also got 3 copies of Looking for Trouble and 3 copies of Skilled Strike. So Looking for Trouble, another new event from the Guardians wave, that lets you fish a minion out and gets a benefit for it, right? So we want as many things as we can have so that, especially if they cost 0, that bring minions out so that we're sure our combo can go off. I've got 7 resources, my 3 basic resources, 2 Pim Particles, and 2 Power of Aggressions. For supports, I have Helicarrier, and for upgrades, I have Combat Training, 3 Follow-Throughs, 3 Hand Cannons, 1 Martial Prowess, and then Red Room Training, Wasp Helmet, Wings, and a side holster. So it's a pretty fun deck. There's not much to it beyond just getting your base attacks really high. You're definitely going to want to prioritize getting a hand cannon down and getting as many follow-throughs as you can. Like, that is your multiplier. If you don't draw into follow-through or you don't play follow-through, then this deck is just, a generico deck of any character that exists that has hand cannon equipped to them. That's not very fun. So you want to make sure you get those follow-throughs so you can take advantage of Wasp's ability to spread damage. I haven't talked about Wasp's tiny form a lot because I truly believe when you're building Wasp, she's got 3 forms, right? She's got Alter Ego, Tiny, and Giant. You pick 2 of those forms to base your deck around. So in this case, we're focusing mainly on Giant form, but we also want to be able to recycle our Pinpoint Strikes, our Nick Fury, our Angela, and our Genius using Nadia. So we're not focusing so much on Tiny form. Hopefully we'll do that in a future Deck of the Week. If you're looking for some ways to swap some things out for consistency or personal preference, if you want to go a little bit more ally heavy, you could add a copy of Valkyrie and Wasp and remove one Looking for Trouble and a Martial Prowess. I like Martial Prowess because you've got 5 attack events in your deck, and they're all really good, but it's probably not essential, especially realizing right now that there's only 5. For some reason, I thought that there were 7. But yeah, it's kind of a bad exchange right there. You could also try to pump your stats even higher. You could get rid of, again, Martial Prowess and Looking for Trouble and a Skilled Strike, and you could add Mean Swings into your deck. Mean Swing lets you exhaust your extra hand cannons to get 3 attack out of them instead of 2, and it lets your hand cannons sit out there for longer, because once you've removed your 3 charge counters, the hand cannon gets discarded and you have to pay for it again. But you only need to activate 1 hand cannon to give yourself overkill. So if you can Mean Swing the other 2, you're going to maintain like the helpfulness of those upgrades for longer. If you want to go overkilling for days, we can completely reroute this deck and not focus on base attack anymore. We can get rid of Skilled Strike, but we could add Relentless Assault and Moment of Triumph. We'd probably have to get rid of 1 Looking for Trouble and 1 hand cannon as well. And you're focusing more on Relentless Assault and Pinpoint Strike to do your excess damage with overkill, but you've still got 2 hand cannons in your back pocket in case they're needed on a rainy day. So that's the deck. I hope you check it out. I know a lot of people overlooked Wasp, but I really think the cards in her kit are way too efficient for her to be a bad hero, and her hero ability is way too good for it to be ignored for too long, especially with all the cool new aggression stuff we got in the Guardians wave. So, until next week, this was Deck of the Week. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great weekend.